Is it just me, or is my look today like I time traveled to 1996 and like never came back? Hey everybody, my name is Sam. Welcome back to my channel. You know, I was sitting down with myself having a conversation earlier today, and I said, Self, you know what you haven't talked about on your BookTube channel in a while? And my answer was books. So I am here today with my first recent reads video of 2020. I have read technically 10 books so far this year. 4 of them were rereads, and so I'm going to mention what those books were, but I'm not really going to go into detail about them too much. And then I've read 6 new to me books. Of the books that are new to me that I'm going to talk about kind of in more detail in this video, I think 2 of them are sequels to books that I read last year that I never mentioned in a wrap-up because, as we all know, I didn't really post any wrap-ups last year. So I'm gonna do my best to kind of go over my feelings about the series as a whole, but mostly focus on the book that I actually read this year. Does that make sense? Hopefully, because that's what I'm doing. Anyway, yes, first I'll just quickly go through the books that I reread at the beginning of this year. The first 3 books that I read this year were the Wayfarer series by Becky Chambers. I have talked about those books ad nauseum on this channel. You all know that I love them truly, madly, deeply. Cue the Savage Garden song, except for not actually because copyright. And then the other book that I reread was a favorite from like my early teen years, and that is The Virginity Club by Kate Bryan. Now, objectively, that book, it's not good, guys. It's not a good book. I don't recommend it. Don't read it. It's not good. Anyway, on to the new to me books that I've read this year. Like I said, there are 6 of them. These are in the order that I finished reading them. So first I have The White Man's Guide to White Male Writers of the Western Canon by Dana Schwartz, who runs the Twitter page Guy in Your MFA, which I'll link the Twitter page in the description. That shit is hilarious, okay? This book is like a nonfiction satire kind of thing, and sort of like pokes fun at these books that we all read like for school that are considered like important works of literature. I don't know, I really enjoyed it. I read this book as part of like a large buddy read that was organized by myself and Janelle over at All the World's a Page. She's amazing. I adore her. I will link her channel in the description. It was so refreshing to read something about all of these like classic writers that normally just like are put up on this godlike pedestal. It was just so refreshing to read something that kind of just pointed out the flaws. I really liked it. It was a good time. All right, the second book that I finished, totally different. I read Sculpt Yourself by Savy Leiser, who has a booktube and authortube channel called Savy Writes Books, which I will also link in the description. This is a like new adult, I would kind of classify it as, near future or like current times sci-fi romance story. I don't know, there was a lot going on, but I really liked it. It's about a drug, like a new drug that's introduced that allows you to move like and redistribute the fat around on your body to give yourself like an ideal figure. And it's written from 3 different characters' perspectives, and it kind of shows that they each have a very different relationship with that drug, and also it shows their relationships with each other. It was nice that it was like a romance, but the romance wasn't necessarily the only focal point, and it was just kind of cool to see like 3 wildly different perspectives on the same situation, because like each of the 3 main characters, like they were really super different. The third book that I finished was another buddy read. I read Vengeful by Schwab, and I buddy read it with Abby from Abby Mac Reads. We buddy read Vicious at the end of last year or in the middle of last year. We read it last year sometime. I don't remember exactly when. So we decided to buddy read the sequel. I really enjoyed both of them. I definitely enjoyed Vicious more. And I think part of that is because originally it was supposed to be a standalone, but then the sequel came out like years and years later, and it was kind of like slightly disjointed, I guess, or it felt a little disjointed to me. But I did still enjoy reading it. I really liked the new characters that were introduced in the second book. I'm glad that I read it, but I would say that I enjoyed the first book more. The fourth book that I read this year is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. This was my first Gillian Flynn book. I had not read any of her books previously, and I've had the Kindle edition of this book for like a few years, and I just finally got around to reading it. And I think that what actually spurred me to do it was that I was like, you know, watching random like best of YouTube video things. I fell down like a rabbit hole, as you do. And Amy's whole cool girl speech from the Gone Girl movie came up. And I was like, oh, fuck, I want to watch that, but I want to read the book first. And so I finally got around to reading it. I'm really glad I did. I liked that it kind of took some of those thriller tropes and flipped them on their head a little bit. Neither of the main characters was actually like in the right or like a good person. You know, I kind of enjoyed that, but it also kind of bummed me out because like I like having someone to root for. It's a weird book. Book 5, I read The Hand on the Wall by Maureen Johnson, which is the third book in the Truly Devious mystery trilogy, and I love this series. It's so fun. If you don't know what this series is, so it's a trilogy. So the first book is Truly Devious, and then The Vanishing Stair is book 2, and then The Hand on the Wall is book 3. And the books follow girl detective Stevie as she goes to this school up in the mountains of Vermont, I believe. And she is trying to solve a mystery, like a murder and kidnapping that happened at the school when it first opened in the 1930s. And in the time that she's at school, other people in her like current time start disappearing and dying. And then she's also trying to solve that mystery. I thought it was just a really well-written mystery series. The third book specifically tied up all of the loose ends in a really, really good way, and I appreciated it very much. But I will say there is like one thing that I fucking hated the main romance in this series. Like this book series didn't need that romance, and it wasn't well executed. Like the main love interest, he was like barely a character, and he oh god, he fucking annoys me. He annoys the shit out of me. I hate him, and I hate who Stevie, the main character, becomes when she's interacting with him. I just wanted to slap them both. And that's not generally what I want if I'm gonna read a book with a romance in it. So if you're gonna read that series, or if you're interested, like, read it for the mystery and just try to pretend the romance isn't happening, because it just sucks. And then finally, because I couldn't have all good reading experiences, was Girl Wash Your Face by Rachel Hollis. And it wasn't totally fair for me to even pick this up. I've heard mixed things about this. I'm gonna listen to it. Pretty sure I'm not gonna like it. I'll form my own opinion, and bitch, it was not good. Okay? It was not good. Like, I can see why some people would find it helpful or motivating for them. There are some things in there that are really encouraging about like being true to yourself. There are some nuggets in there that are useful, but the book itself is kind of preachy. It's really repetitive, and it's one of those books where like just it's trying way too hard to be like quirky and relatable, and it just came across as disingenuous, and I didn't like it. So that is my first recent reads video, 4 rereads and 6 new to me books. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this format, if I was able to go into more detail like I was hoping to for these. That was part of why I wanted to switch up my like wrap up format. I don't know, just talk to me in the comments. Have a great day, guys. Bye.